taking a little break right now. I finished the training and I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. I felt great. In the last round of the sparring, I did felt like I was slowing down, but as long as I take 2 or 3 second break within the sparring, I was okay. Um, I want to thank Crew Dave because I learned a lot of stuff with Dave. It's not that I learn, it's that I have a concept to back it up. Because in sparring, we do a lot of things that are instincts that make sense. But once you have the concept of it, it's more important because you are not only relying on instinct, you are relying on knowledge, and relying on knowledge, especially when it comes to fighting, is more important, I think, and it makes more sense. Like for instance, Crew Dave has a strong background in boxing, right? And he said, if you can't hit the head, then aim to the body, because it's harder to block the body and it's harder to move the whole body because it's a bigger target area, which is something that you will say, oh, everybody knows that, yeah, but the important thing is to have it as a concept, to have it, to understand, to have it ingrained into you. If you're trying to hit the opponent's head and he's moving or he's blocking a lot, then move to the great thing, to the next great thing, which is the body. Also, I learned with Crew Dave, even though I always been, I would like to say, specialist in the low kick, that the best time to hit somebody in the low kick is when they are trying to look for angles. So that's something really good that I learned from Dave that I'm using a lot. And yeah, that strike to the body, like when you are sparring and you're hitting the head and you're not getting the head, and then say, okay, then I'm gonna hit the body. Then that makes your opponent to move. And when he's moving, is when you can attack the legs, like to a greater success rate. So that I have to thank to Crew Dave. Now, the thing here in Freedom Fighters, former American top team of Kendo, it's extremely focused on condition and technique. And especially now that we have Ray Ceviche, our Brazilian Jiu Jitsu coach, it's a great interaction into fighting dirty, like within the rules that are allowed for MMA. Like, for instance, before, when somebody was grabbing you against the cage from the back, what we would do is, which is still about something valid, to put your leg behind theirs. And I think in judo it was called kasakatami. I don't remember, have to look for it, because has been many years since I trained judo with my sifu, with my sensei, I'm sorry. But now we do a lot of stuff, like for instance, putting our fingers inside their gable grip, inside their grip, to break that grip, and then using the hips as well. It makes a little bit more violent. Now when we got out of there, we go out covering our head, because mostly after that you get a head kick. We're doing a lot of things different. Like for instance, when I train karate, thank you, brother. I'm gonna put a workout video tonight. When I used to train karate, one of the first technique I learned that I still use was the oisuki or suki, the yako suki, and then if you throw another suki, you will block like this, right? So you would do fuan fuan, so to block and avoid the kick to the head. I haven't seen that lately as much in karate, but I'm using that technique or that particular set from karate when I'm boxing, that I throw a jab and I'm completely sideways. Usually people counter with an overhand, and I throw my jab, I have the hand here, and I cover like this, and I'm blocking those strike right here. You're gonna see it on the sparring that I'm gonna post today. And at the same time, I'm tucking my head and covering with my shoulder, and I am like pressing my head in case I get head kick on this side. The head is not all wobbly. So by the head not being all wobbly, there is less chances of you getting KO, getting knocked out. So also after the jab and blocking here, I either go from there using the Kung Fu principles of economy of motion, going from there, boom, and hitting the opponent, or going from there. If I see the movement, I go with a low kick or a side kick. So there is a lot of things that you guys can do on sparring, but as long as you have a concept to back it up. So that being said, I love those tips help you out. Um, I got a few more questions to answer. I think they are important questions, even though they are questions like a trap with the intention of how can I say, fucking me up. But like I always say, nobody knows more about me than me, and nobody how you want to twist and how you want to divert the situation. I'm a fucking warrior, and I will always fight back. And like I said, it doesn't matter how much you whine, cry, or whatever you do, but I do have the witness. I do have the experience. I do have the knowledge. I can still replicate and do all those moves. Like, for instance, let's talk about karate, and I'm gonna answer just one question. They asked me with like a really bad intention, okay, Sergio, who was your karate master? That was in Xiao Wan, right? And what is your dance certificate? Well, it's in my living room. One of them. I have many. I have many, but it's simple. You want to have that information? I have said it many times. I train karate in Cuba. The style of karate that I trained was called Yoshimon from Josu Ikeda. Josu Ikeda was the master of Jesus Acosta. Jesus Acosta is right here in the Hialeah school. Jesus Acosta was the master of my master, Leonel. I do have videos with Jesus Acosta, interviews talking about this, backing up everything I have said. It's an offshoot of Shorin Ryu. It's a version of Shorin Ryu. The master Josu Ikeda, and you guys can read, he went to China back trying to get the source of the karate, the original source of information, because he was trying to make a karate that was stronger. He was trying to make a karate that would work under a stress situation, even though there is a lot of stuff that didn't work for that karate style for me. Like I saw later on when I connected to the internet. Now there are great videos that shows the defense, but honestly the defense I had at that time with karate, for like somebody grabbing me in a choke, somebody grabbing me from the back. Even I was a black belt, I did not have the elements to defend myself. And that's one of the things that I feel the karate failed me. I trained karate from 1992 until it was the year 2000. I am 38 years old now, so many years has passed in that. The karate class was done in during the day in a hard floor, no wood, like hard floor, concrete, where the nightclub of Melena del Sur was. You could ask any person of Melena del Sur from my generation, and you're gonna get the facts straight that I always train karate. So, uh, Herman Branch, and I'm just trying to be polite and professional here. He was asking about what Santiago said. I will try to explain it to you guys again. Um, in Cuba, we did not have internet. We barely had any notebook or magazines of karate. Actually, I just remember seeing through since 1990 to the year 2000 only one book, and it was Taekwondo based. And whatever we wanted to train and do manuals, we have to go to artists, to the people that paint. So we will have to do the poses, they will paint, and then we will put the names underneath. Our sensei did have the names correctly, and he gave it to us. But most of the times, we Cubans, we tend to butcher the language. We make a lot of shortcuts, even in Spanish. So, like the suki to the face, we just say suki, and the Yako Suki, or reverse hand or rear hand, we just said the Yako. So we would do our own manuals for us to remember, because nobody's an encyclopedia. You get, I mean, at least I'm not. but none of us were. We were just kids trying to learn how to fight to survive. So the karate style, like I said, is Yoshimon. Was introduced by Josue Ikeda into Cuba, was supervised by the military, and the INDER was the association that was. And if I look better, I think I can find my card, one of my cards. For every belt, they will give you a card. And actually, guys, some of that was 1994, where Cuba was in the worst crisis. There were not certificates, and we did not even have the karategi. That was one of the arguments I had with Santiago, because we used to call them kimonos. That was the information we had at the time. Uh, then we found out later that we will here in America, where there is more information, we will get more people from Japan. Even though we had a lot of people from Japan, we could not communicate with them. We could not get access to them. They were there, but they were with the military, always watching. Uh, but it was very hard for us, the commoners, the regular people, the students, to talk to them. They will get there, they will start Kibadachi Suki Centro, and they will start one, two, like in Japanese. I think it was I even forgot. It's been many years. San. Well, I forgot. I forgot even how to count. But the Japanese will stand there and will start saying Kusoachi. They will start telling the names, and we will look. If you didn't know, there were a lot of white belts too. If you didn't know, you will follow what the elder, what the older people, the people with more experience were doing. I was not a real good karate guy. I tried. I only become a good karate guy after I learned Kung Fu. After I learned Kung Fu, and I always tell this story. I remember that my sensei Lionel used to say that the Suki or Jako Suki will break ribs. And there were a few people that did it. But I remember I was never able to hurt people like really, really bad with a Suki or Jako Suki. Only when I learned Kung Fu from Ray, from my Sifu, I understood how and when to turn the hand to hit the opponent harder, and of how to make that little twist. Ray showed me stuff that even contradicted the karate. Like for instance, I always had the issue when I throw the suki, I would always move the shoulders forward, and I had to spend hours in front of a wall throwing the sukis in kibadashi, the horse stand, not to move the shoulder. However, Ray showed me, okay, that's fine, but you also, by moving the shoulder, you get 1 more inch, you get more penetration, you hurt your opponent even more. So, and that definitely, those little tips make my karate 10 times better. We did have holes in our knowledge, but most of our karate was, and the karate at that time, and you can see the videos, were full contact. I remember that there was a time, I would say from 1995 to 1999, until Hugo Chavez got in better relationship with Cuba, and we got the petroleum and all that, that we didn't see many people coming from the outside of the country to Cuba, and we didn't see any Japanese. But I do remember that there was a big, big Japanese martial art demonstration. I would say year 1999 or year 2000. It is on YouTube. I think it is on one of the channels from UMAC, that was done in Ciudad Deportiva in Havana. And when they saw what we were doing, they were horrorized, because we were doing stuff that were supposed to be soft, very hard. Like in a way, we lost our weight. Like we modified the karate to make it work on the street so much that when they saw what we were doing was not the karate that they were expecting from it. Was something brutal. It was something really, really crazy to their standards. So that's why in my post in the channel I say restricted karate. So I get my first dan when I was in the last year of secundaria. By the way, in Cuba, with 15-year-old, you are considered an adult. You are considered an adult. You can drink. You can marry yourself. The only thing you cannot do is drive. Drive is only after 18 years old. And when we change and switch from that actually the government took us from our hometown to another town for the Beca, the school that you live in. Um, that's when I started learning Kung Fu. We were still training karate, and I trained there to get my second degree. And I started hating karate when I learned Kung Fu, honestly. So that question was asked. Yeah, there were a lot of mistakes in the knowledge that we have. It was not perfect. It will work for the striking. The karate didn't work for me for the grappling. It did not work. It did not. I was very scared and disappointed. I only learned how to defend myself with the self-defense of the Kung Fu thanks to Ray. But karate did form a lot of my base strikes. So now, talking about Haters Inc., I think I've been fair. First of all, I was challenged by him. We all know that. And I have to keep repeating that because we have to get the facts straight. I was challenged by Haters Inc. I was requested to fight him. The idea and the notion was that he was coming here, and it was before August 30. Then he made some requests that I could not accommodate, like he wanted to have a fight, an amateur fight with no protection, but at the same time he wanted that supervised by a police. So Miami-Dade police cannot supervise an unsanctioned event. So, and it was hard to get an unsanctioned event to have amateurs fighting with pro rules. So at the time we couldn't accommodate, but I got him what he asked. September 10, there is an event that has a cage, that has cops, that has security, and that we could fight with 4-ounce glove like he asked. Because again, it seems that I am the only one who cannot make any type of decisions for this fight. It seems that I am the only one who does not have a say on the fight. It's funny how you guys try to ridicule me, saying, oh, he's backing down. But think about it, switch sides. I am requested to leave my house, to leave my business, to fight somebody who hasn't made any effort to lose weight, who hasn't made any effort to fulfill what he promised. And what he get him, when I get him what he promised, what he wanted, a fight with professional rules, a cup, professional rules mean no protection, only MMA glove for 4 ounces, elbows to the face, ground and pound, elbows in the floor. Those are a little different from the amateur rule that you cannot do elbows on the floor in some associations. I got him everything he asked for. Now he's backing down. And he said, oh, you have to come to street beef. There was also a confusion with that. I was always talking about the street beef in Virginia, which is closer to here. I don't understand why we cannot find halfway. So I traveled to Virginia, he travels to Virginia. Then I had to sign up into the scrapyard, which is close to his house in his own state. My question is, and this is something for adult people. My question is, why do I, Lon, I'm gonna send you a video right now on Instagram for you that I'm gonna post tonight. Why do I have to travel? Yeah, he's all only eating burgers. But this is a question. Why do I have to travel to Washington when I didn't challenge Martin? Why do I have to leave my business? Oh, tornado kick targets, high footage. That Sendragon posted a video. I would love for you guys to go and watch it. Sendragon is a great martial artist, and one of the person I respect the most. He's in Denmark. He posts a lot of videos. He has big balls. He's fighting. I remember a lot of people at the beginning were not did not have faith in Michael, but Michael has proved himself over and over. And even though his style may not be like 100% traditional, it's a good style in their own right because they're fighting, they're doing what they're supposed to do. So again, none of my requests with Pablo have been met. I said, let's do it a striking. He said no. I told him drop the weight at least to do 50. We all see that he weighs more than 300 pounds. I got him the fight here. He's saying no. So what I say, let's do a contract that if I go and I show up, and you don't show up, I get the money. He also promised that he will go down to 205. I haven't seen him go to down to, not even to 250. I shouldn't say this, but I do have a kid that I have to take to school by law because I went to a court, and I have some days that I have to take him for sure. I have to be away from him that weekend. Um, I have to pay ticket for me, for my wife. I have to pay ticket for my corner. And I am not saying that I'm not gonna do it. Think about this. I want to appeal to people's reason, including Martin reason, because deep down, that piece of shit that he is, he must have at least some common sense. My grandmother is very old. She's extremely old. She had several falls last year that broke her hips. She cannot walk. And when I travel, because that was one of the questions I was asked with bad intentions. When I traveled to Egypt, we had to do a lot of sacrifices. We had to move her to a family's house that did us the favor to take care from her because my dad passed away, and he take care of her. But it was extremely tough. Once we come back from my trip, we had to spend a few days with her in the hospital because she's getting very old. That's part of the life. I didn't have this problem last year. I didn't have this problem 3 years ago. I didn't have that problem 5 years ago. Unfortunately, her health has been deteriorating, and it's something that we all have to think. And I'm not using this as an excuse because she understands. But why do I think about it? Why do I have to make the sacrifices of putting my grandmother in an assisted living facility, which, by the way, I own one, and I cannot take a person from my assisted living facility to put her for a weekend. So I have to take her to an assisted living facility or hospice, so she can have proper care. Then I have to close my business for a whole weekend or week. Then to go and find somebody who hasn't even make weight, to find somebody that has not posted a single video training, that all the videos is his head because he's too fat, that it doesn't make any sense at all. So that's why I'm asking Pablo to come here, because that was his original promise. And he made some conditions that I couldn't get him first, but now we got everything he asked for. So Pablo, fulfill what you asked for. If you cannot make it because you have problems, I understand. I completely understand. But at least show in a video that you weigh less than 250, because that will give me the motive, the energy, not to cancel my ticket, not to cancel my passage. You get me? Because I don't even think that a street beef, and I'm gonna ask that question, that is gonna allow us to fight. I weighed 198. Well, after training now was not 196.5. And you weigh more than 350? Do you think that a street beef are gonna let you fight with that weight? Is that the card that you're playing? Because when you subscribe to the fight, you said 205. I don't think you weigh 205. So that's all I had to say. I hope that I answered your questions. If I didn't answer your questions, well, at least you have some information that could be useful for you.